What is up, YouTube? It's your girl Evelyn, and the wait is officially over. So let's dive right in to the Wynonna Earp Season 4 Episode 1 recap. As always, there will be spoilers, so proceed with caution. Season 4 picks up just seconds after the end of Season 3. Wynonna and Nedley grab their guns and set out to rescue Waverly and Doc. They easily find the magical Garden of Eden staircase, but unfortunately the door doesn't appear for Wynonna. But what does appear are dozens of creepy little crab monsters. The duo takes them out with ease, but not before one bites Nedley. They return to the homestead to regroup, and we get yet another glimpse of the name Valdez scratched into the wall. A quick flashback shows us that it was actually Jeremy who was responsible for the defacement. We see him finishing the carving right before a soldier of some kind breaks in and tases him. Back in the present day, Sheriff Hot wakes up aboard a cargo train with our second favorite vampire, Kate, who gives her the rundown. It seems they were kidnapped by some kind of government agency or private militia, and although they aren't being actively guarded, the train door locks are electrified. But Nicole is more concerned with the whereabouts of her almost fiancé Waverly. Kate gives Nicole a reading for Waverly, but through Nicole, but also kind of for Nicole? The first two cards are chill, but the third card really freaks Kate out. She tells Nicole that Waverly isn't safe, and that she's on a journey that no human could ever survive. Kate takes one for the team and withstands electrocution to open the train door. Nicole jumps out Yahoo! And sets off to find her lady. Back at the homestead, Nedley tells Wynonna that he hid Dawes' old black badge files at the station, and without any other leads, they decide to give them a look through, in the hopes of finding something that will help them figure out a way into the garden. Also, Mercedes randomly pops up. Apparently, she was chilling at the house with Kate, snuggled up in post-coital bliss, when the secret soldiers barged in, and Mercedes, the show's most prolific survivalist, ditched her vamp lover and ran to the Earp homestead. The gang arrives at the station, and Wynonna hits the jackpot when she stumbles upon the file of one Dr. Gloria Valdez. Unsurprisingly, Valdez is a BBD scientist stationed at Monument, a town a few hours away from Purgatory. And Dr. Valdez's file makes mention of a test involving the garden. It's not much to go on, but it's all they've got. And Wynonna sets off for Monument, leaving Mercedes to take care of Nedley, whose crab bite is starting to get the better of him. On her way out of town, Wynonna gets a flat, and just as she's starting to feel sorry for herself, Sheriff Hot shows up, and really gives her something to feel sorry about. Wynonna drugged Nicole, Jeremy, and Doc before she went off to battle Bolshar, because without her Earpy powers, she was afraid she'd be unable to keep them safe. And Nicole is still big mad. But because they have bigger fish to fry,
don't forget about it.
Nicole mostly forgives Wynonna, fixes the flat, and then joins her on the mission to Monument. Meanwhile, we get our first glimpse of the Garden of Eden as Doc steps inside what appears to be a frozen tundra with multiple freestanding doors. He immediately locates Waverly, who's unexplainably chained to some kind of smooth rock formation that's slowly choking the life out of her. Doc rescues her by pulling up what looks to be a living rock from the bottom of a well. Afterward, they search for a way out, but none of the doors will open. Waverly finds her father Julian's throne, the place where he sat to protect the garden, and also the place that turned him into stone. She has a sudden urge to sit on it, but thankfully, Doc stops her. After a little more searching, they discover a set of stairs that lead into a crypt. There, they meet a half-crazed dude in a lab coat covered in blood. Lab coat dude is extremely happy to see them, and even happier that they appear to be healthy. Doc and Waverly have tons of questions for him, but Lab Coat Dude tells them there's only one thing they need to know. Always keep her fed with fresh human blood. He then cuts off his own head with the world's sharpest pair of shears. Not long after, the crypt, or perhaps the she under the crypt, starts to majorly freak out. So Waverly and Doc do the only thing they can do. They flip the headless corpse upside down and essentially milk him, in the hopes of calming down whatever she is. And it works, at least for the time being. Meanwhile, back in Monument, Nicole and Wynonna break into the abandoned BBD facility, but turns out it's not so abandoned after all. There they meet Rachel, Gloria Valdez's daughter, who's been squatting at the facility for a while. She tells them there was some kind of accident, and in response, BBD gassed the lab, along with the scientist inside of it, for the sake of containment. She also tells them it was Deputy Dawes who made her leave before it happened, saving her life. Rachel eventually returned to the facility to locate her mother, but Gloria is still MIA. Wynonna, hoping that whatever is inside the lab is related to the garden, uses BEAVER dynamite to blast open the doors. But in the process, she awakens the dead scientist. It seems that instead of killing them, BBD's gas turned the scientists into straight-up zombies. The good news is, none of the zombies are Gloria Valdez. The bad news is, they're still zombies. Wynonna, Nicole, and Rachel go up against the undead, but in the process, Wynonna steps on a grate, which, according to Rachel, is a really bad idea. Nicole saves Wynonna by pushing her off the grate, but Sheriff Hot ends up falling into what looks like oblivion. Back in the garden, Doc and Waverly are experiencing memory lapses, and they both struggle to remember what Wynonna and Nicole look like. But that will have to wait, because the chick in the crypt is hungry again. Waverly sneaks away from Doc and for some reason decides that giving an unknown beast a taste of her angel blood is a great idea. The thing in the crypt seems to like Waverly's blood. A lot. It draws Waverly deeper into the crypt, then gives her several options without any context. We don't see which one Waverly chooses, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist. Doc wakes up to find a fully grown tree in bloom that wasn't there before. He then goes down into the crypt and finds none other than Nicole. And that is it for the recap. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more Wynonna Earp, and I'll see you next week.